As we often have cause to remark, nothing works in Britain anymore, nothing in terms of basic services. The United Kingdom is exiting the developed world. If you call 999, the ambulance shows up 15 hours later. Over 10% of the population is currently on the National Health Service waiting list, and most of the rest of the population has presumably concluded there is no National Health Service, so there's no point even getting on the list. The laughingstock border force exists not to enforce the national border, but to provide concierge services for the 1,000+ young men being ferried from French waters to the southern shore by the Royal National Lifeboat Institution every night of the week. Politics? Oh, come on, the governing party can't even pull off a palace coup. They spend all year plotting against the Prime Minister, force him out over groped bottoms at the Carlton Club, spend an interminable 3 months on a leadership campaign, only to elect someone they immediately start plotting against all over again. Here is the assistant editor of The Spectator today contemplating whether this week's Prime Minister should now be replaced by the guy she trounced. Quote, "I don't get the sense that a Sunak succession would do anything." Well, hold up there. A Rishi Sunak succession. It's only 20 minutes since he lost. He's back already? This is in a column headlined, "What Does Michael Gove Want?" What does Michael Gove want? That was the runaway winner in a question to come up with a question. Runaway winner in a competition to come up with a question that not a single British subject across the planet is asking. What does Michael Gove want? Maybe he wants to be Lord Privy Seal or Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. Maybe he'd like to be Governor of the Pitcairn Islands in the South Pacific. I'd be willing to chip in towards that just so we wouldn't have to hear a peep about him for a half-decade or so. Politicians only matter if they can impact public policy. And there's not a lot of evidence for that right now. For example, there is no more comprehensively failed institution in the realm than the British Constabulary. As Parm Sandhu, former Chief Superintendent at Scotland Yard, said on this show a few weeks back, only 1.3% of all recorded crime even leads to a summons, to a court appearance, never mind a conviction, and we know that that 1.3% is overstated because the Met and other forces are massaging the figures by not recording a lot of crime. So the crime clear-up rate in the United Kingdom is now all but statistically undetectable. Would it make any difference if we simply laid off the entire British police? Well, it might cause a slight uptick in even more unsolved crimes, but on the other hand, we wouldn't have entire teams of officers in rainbow-festooned cop cars descending on the homes of law-abiding citizens to harass them for an infelicitous tweet or Instagram post. The slogan of His Majesty the King's most famous constabulary is, "The Mounties always get their man." Not in Britain. The police hardly ever get their man, but they do get you, because frankly, that's a lot easier. Which brings me back to Miss Truss's new ministry, not yet a month old. The new Home Secretary took office, urging the coppers to stop sitting around reading Twitter all day, get off their flabby arses, and try solving the occasional crime.
We need to get back to common sense policing, empowering the police to tackle the issues facing the public, not policing pronouns on Twitter or non-crime.
Well, there's a radical idea. Here's how the Surrey Constabulary reacted to Mrs. Braverman's, quote, order. Last night, they went round to the home of Caroline Farrow, the wife of a priest, and arrested her. Why did they do that? Because she's not wholly on board with transgender ideology. Surrey police can't do anything if you've been burgled or raped. But as the paramilitary wing of Pink News or Stonewall, they're doing great. The Chief Constable of Surrey Police is Gavin Stevens. Here he is. Looks like a nice chap, very smiley there. We asked him to come on the show to defend this arrest, but he wimped out. However, Caroline Farrow is with us. I should actually say that at the time he wimped out of the interview, he did eventually provide us with a statement as to why he sent all these people round to arrest Caroline. He said there had been an allegation of malicious communications and that a number of electronic devices were seized as potential evidence from this address under Section 19 of PACE. If you don't know what PACE is, there's no reason why you should know. It's the Police and Criminal Evidence Act. Anyway, it is good to